we're going to move on with the program, which is just going to be killer good, because we're going to start off. I'm going to bring Chaitra Vedullapalli up here. You know Chaitra. She is one of the co-founders of Women in Cloud. She's the CMO of Mela. She writes and speaks about cloud technology and economic inclusion. She's presented at the UN, TEDx, you know, all these different places. And what I love is that she's part of the Forbes Next 1000, and she just got another award. I mean, they're just piling in on you now, Chai. I love that. So take us into this panel discussion of digital co-selling with cloud hyperscalers. I can't wait.
Thank you, Patty, for a wonderful introduction. So first is hello, everyone. How was the day 2 for all of you? How was it? Excellent, excellent, perfect. So right now, I'm actually going to be focusing on the business topic, which is digital co-selling with cloud hyperscalers. How many of you know what hyperscaler mean? Anyone? Raise your, just send me a text. So basically the cloud hyperscalers are the one who actually are powering our world. And it is especially around all the infrastructure we need for really driving the innovation. So we have 4 hyperscalers, which is Microsoft, IBM, Google, and AWS. So the whole cloud era will be revolutionized by them and how we sell the software. And day after day, more of the companies are going to start to co-sell with hyperscalers. So how many of you are here who are entrepreneurs? Put it in the chat as +1. So I know who are all the entrepreneurs. This is for you. This one is something going to change the way you think about your go-to-market strategy. Excellent. So because of the pandemic, what we are witnessing is the emergence of another transformation shift with the rise of the cloud marketplaces, which are enabled through the hyperscalers, which enable all the SaaS companies to sell their products more efficiently to the enterprise buyers through the AWS, Azure, and Google Cloud marketplaces, as well as the Red Hat marketplace from IBM. While these marketplaces are still in the early stages, they are going to be processing billions of dollars in transaction and are going to dramatically accelerate the deals for the B2B SaaS vendors. So over the coming years, we expect the cloud marketplaces to become the fundamental sales channel for enterprise software, capturing a substantial sales or a share of 450 billion in the entire industry. Well, this is accelerating across all the industry, from global shipping to wholesale to new enterprise software. So over the 10 years, we expect the cloud marketplaces to become the core part of sales and fulfillment infrastructure for all software companies, truly a third leg for a go-to-market stool alongside direct and channel sales. So I'm going to bring in the experts. We are going to have Barry Russell come and join. He was the mastermind of how he architected the cloud marketplace at Amazon when he was there. So you have to hear him. So welcome, Barry.
Thank you.
And welcome. We're so excited to have you here. And I'll have is Gena Go from Microsoft, who is leading some amazing work in the cloud marketplace. So Gena, please join. Welcome. I have Laura Newby. She's from Tackle.io, who is automating this entire process in the world. And then we have Ralph Jacobson from IBM, who's going to be here talking about the entire marketplace. I am so excited to have you here. So to get you started, what I would like to do is do a quick round of introduction. I would like you to do. So Barry, tell us about you and what lights you up every day, and we'll go through all of you.
Oh boy. What lights me up every day? I still get passionate about disruptive businesses, and apologies, I've got a bit of a cold. I'm still getting over, so it may be a frog pop in here and there. I really like getting involved in technologies and businesses that take a different look at the way that business has been done for a long time and attempt to kind of flip that on its head, even if it's a long-term bet. And I've been in cloud for a long time. I spent a number of years at Microsoft in that space, and then spent almost 7 years at Amazon and AWS, really building that marketplace from scratch and some years at a couple of ISVs, and I'll be on to a new adventure on Monday.
Awesome, Barry. And a little bit about Barry is he's on our board of advisor and helping us build the Women in Cloud marketplace. So now we are the only ecosystem which can where you can go and find all the solutions developed by women. So it's been fascinating to see amazing solutions come up for the enterprise market. How about you, Gena? Tell us about you and what lights you up every day.
So hi everyone, so good to be here, Chaitra, and with my fellow panelists. I lead the channel inclusion and impact strategies as part of the Microsoft Global Partner Solutions business, and excited to support new solutions to market that will also drive inclusive and sustainable market opportunity. What lights me up is actually planting seeds, and that's kind of my mantra for the year: planting as many seeds as I can as possible for new ways of thinking and new ways that we can drive opportunity that's more inclusive forward.
Awesome. Thanks, Gena. How about you, Lauren?
Hi, thanks so much for having me here. What lights me up every day, I would say, is probably the way that, so I work in alliances, so building relationships is core to what I do. So the way that I get to work with a lot of the cloud partners today, constantly digging in to find where there's friction points and where things can be improved for buyers and sellers alike. So getting into the weeds with partners and building that trust, I think is what keeps me going.
Thank you, Lauren. We are really excited to have you here. And Ralph, what about you?
Hi, Chai. Thank you so much for this opportunity, and hello to everyone. Lauren just stole a little bit of my thunder because I also work at our alliances at IBM, but I work specifically with our diverse-owned businesses. So those underrepresented organizations, that is literally all I do, and that is actually what lights me up. As corny as that may sound, although I've spent my first 20 years or so in the retail and consumer products industries, and then as Jennifer, who I was at the table with. And by the way, apologies to a couple of folks who knocked on my door right before this got started. I was preparing for this, so apologies for not jumping on that table. But I did discover, I'll call it an old colleague from the Arthur Andersen world, where I worked in the 1990s before joining IBM. And then with all the roles that I've had, this one is far and away the most rewarding because every day of the year I get to spend time with these diverse business owners and really just help them navigate, number one, through IBM and our huge world of partner world, but also with virtually every other organization who's represented on this panel, because all of them are our good business partners also, and we'll talk about that a little bit. So that's what lights me up, is being able to help those folks out and give them just a little bit of concierge service.
Oh, fantastic. Well, we have the perfect panel here to really guide a lot of the entrepreneurs who are here. This is really for you, knowing the new, I would say, the sales channel that is available, which is evolving, and you're part of that journey, will change the game for your business. So Barry, I'll start with you. Is as a company who is building and delivering the SaaS solution via the hyperscaler marketplace, what do we all need to know about this new marketplace strategy, and how do we need to build our business with this particular asset that is available for all of us?
Sure. I think it's important to understand what the three major marketplaces have turned into, right, versus what they were when we first set out to build them in 2012, and I won't go back there. They are largely now a way for customers to quickly try and deploy production, test use cases, and do one or two things: either subscribe through tools like Tackle into a subscription plan, or get comfortable enough that they're willing to make a long-term commitment, either an annual or a multi-year subscription, which we affectionately coined private offers at AWS Marketplace when we built that feature and deployed it. I will say, and I think we've talked about this, Chaitra, it is not a place where customers necessarily go like you would as a consumer in a marketplace or on Google searching around for stuff. They don't just go there necessarily. There are looky-loos, but most customers don't just go there to look around. They're very intentional about the set of products, cloud services that they are looking for to solve a particular problem. They may have been educated through something that popped in on LinkedIn or a use case they saw, etc. I think it's most important to say that this is not a situation of list your product and the sales grow on trees. There have been a few magical moments. I can think of a couple of vendors where that happened, and I literally mean a couple. But nothing changes in terms of educating your customer quickly on the value that your product and solution delivers, how you price that, and then how they're able to consume that. You still have to go through those motions of letting them quickly try and test and educating them on the specific industry use case that they're looking to achieve. Where they do help, and I'm sure the other panelists, and especially Lauren, will get into this in a moment, so I won't steal any of her lightning or thunder, is that once you get a customer who's interested in subscribing, there are mechanisms in place from all three cloud providers to allow the customer to use spend they've already committed in their contracts with AWS, Azure, and Google towards the consumption of third-party software solution out of those marketplaces. And there are mechanisms in place that compensate the field from the ISV through the SI all the way through the cloud provider field personnel to make sure that there's no friction. And those are back-end program benefits. And then the last benefit, of course, is that the cloud providers handle all of the billing that's associated with the consumption of those software as a service solutions and all the infrastructure that goes with that, so that the customer essentially gets everything in a single package from their chosen cloud provider. But I'll leave the audience with the most important point, which is don't list it and expect sales. That's not how it works. Don't list it and expect people to come in and search for your product and magically, all of a sudden the money's going to begin growing on the magical Chaitra tree. That does not going to happen. You still have to do all of your demand gen and go to market motion, but you have to do it in a more precise way based on industry use case.
Thanks, Barry. I wish I could had that magical tree where I could have created that $1 billion opportunities for everyone. So Lauren, going to you, tell me more about how Tackle is looking at it, because you just raised $100 million recently for solving this problem for a lot of the SaaS companies. Tell us more how we need to look at the pricing models, and also how does the private offers work?
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, thank you. Very exciting that we're into our round C there, our Series C. So lots of important pieces to cover here. And I guess just at a high level, really Tackle exists to really help software companies sell through these cloud marketplaces. So eliminating, the need to build that software to sell software. And, with that comes along, taking some of the complexities around the different marketplaces that exist, and knowing that they all have unique values, they have unique customers, but they also have unique cloud marketplaces with a lot of different things to consider and different user interfaces to interact with. So understanding that there are those different complexities is number one. Number two, as you start to look into your cloud marketplace strategy, and that really needs to come from the entire organization as a whole. Having that executive alignment behind having a cloud marketplace strategy is really important, just as it is for your cloud strategy, right? So with that, as you start to look at listing on marketplace and understanding the variety of options that are there when it comes to pricing, it makes a lot of sense to focus a lot of time and effort on that. So looking across the marketplaces, we have a variety of ways to purchase and procure. A really common one that is continuously growing is that consumption-based model. So something that we talk to our customers a lot about before they even get listed is, what does your pricing strategy look like, and how is that going to align to your buyer? How is that going to align to what the cloud marketplace that you're working with and looking to start in, what are those offerings? So anything from pay-as-you-go and consumption, which can be especially tricky for those ISVs that are new to this cloud buying area. But for some of the startups, maybe this is the way that you've actually built your pricing model based on how the clouds have built that pay-as-you-go offering. So I think that's a really important consideration. But then knowing across the marketplaces, consumption, annual agreements, multi-annual agreements, really important. And something really valuable that all the marketplaces offer are that private agreement type of pricing. So yes, you can have a public listing. No, it's not going to be the build it and they will come, but it will definitely give your customers this opportunity to get an idea of what your product is. But then you can also go through a more traditional type sales cycle and leverage things like private offers to go ahead and negotiate with your customer, outside, and ensure that they are getting the most, the best fit for what they're looking for. So really, I think the big thing there is that understanding your pricing strategy and your value, and then understanding what cloud provider has, what you need, and working with the cloud provider to ensure that you get listed with the appropriate pricing packages.
Perfect, Lauren. You did a perfect transition for us to talk about two marketplaces. So Gena, I would love you to talk about the Microsoft Marketplace, because we have worked with you very closely to ensure that most of the women entrepreneurs who are part of the accelerator are also, leveraging the marketplace. Can you tell more about it? What does it entail and how does it work?
For sure. So I think Barry and Lauren did a fantastic job here setting us up with the value of marketplaces in general. And then I think immediately dispelling the myth of the build and they will come, which is something really important to ground on. The Microsoft Marketplace will, enable partners and businesses to reach 4 million monthly active users. That's immediately extending your reach. We're also seeing 15 billion in annual contract value. So again, a very significant access to enterprise opportunities, right? And so one of the things that I wanted to share that adds on to what has been said is that ultimately the marketplace is a new way to create inclusive opportunity for small businesses and for diverse businesses that traditional sales pipelines and cycles and journeys sometimes don't allow. It will increase discoverability, even though customers may not be searching, by having your listing show up really well on the marketplace on a public site can support small business in your positioning to enterprise. By having it on a platform with a big cloud providers immediately building trust with your brand. And also it reduces common friction points that small businesses face in the procurement cycle. And that's the discussion that Barry and Lauren were alluding to. When you get to access existing contract relationships that the cloud providers already have with end customers. So it might feel like an initial lift to get on there, but think of it as a way to create more access for yourself, and then you can then build on it and grow your journey with these platforms over time. And then for Microsoft, one of the things that we're doing is to ensure that our marketplace shines a spotlight on diverse-owned businesses and impact-oriented businesses. And that's why we've been working very closely with Chaitra and Women in Cloud as part of our #Build for 2030 initiative to be featuring solution offerings on the marketplace over the past 2 years that are aligned with the UN Sustainable Development Goals and social impact. And super proud of the fact that we featured almost 30 Women in Cloud Accelerator partner solutions as part of that work.
Thanks, Gena. Ralph, coming to you. IBM just announced the Red Hat Marketplace. Tell us more about it.
Well, Chair, I've got to be honest. I'm going to thank Barry for some great points that he made. but Barry, you also broke my heart because you said there are 3 marketplaces right now with AWS, Microsoft, and Google. Okay, there's more than 3, and so you really hurt my feelings, but that's okay. I'll get over it. Everything will be fine.
I'm working on it. There used to only be 1. At least I've gotten to 3. You know.
But nevertheless, I still forgive you. Nevertheless, what we're excited about is that Red Hat marketplace. So you may be familiar with the fact that Red Hat is part of IBM. And so we've launched that, I don't know, actually about 18 or so months ago, maybe even more than that now that I think about it. And what I've learned and what I can say is that, number one, getting back to the question about how do we need to go about building this business, as Chai asked, you really need to remain agile. And maybe agile is the word of the day for me. Because as you grow, you don't want to get locked into one proprietary platform. We're seeing more and more companies execute a multi-cloud platform strategy. In fact, it's the majority at this point. You really want to be able to deliver that hybrid cloud platform experience, enabling not just the IT teams, but the business folks in your organization to build and modernize applications across any cloud or IT infrastructure. So with that, I want to confirm, and I kind of alluded to this in the intro, that my colleagues on this very panel their organizations are all experienced as IBM partners. So Microsoft, AWS, Google, and other marquee names, including Tackle, by the way, are IBM partners. So each of us have unique capabilities, and so you want to ensure that you leverage those kinds of capabilities with those cloud marketplaces. So when you can find popular software, say that, and/or as a customer, to Barry's point, or as a lister yourself, and I totally agree with the point that build it and they don't necessarily come. I'm 1 billion percent behind that. I think we're all in agreement on that now. Every software offering on the marketplace, number one, is certified. So that's a key point. And that's a key point with all of the marketplaces that you're hearing about today. So that really has certification. It has credibility for your organization. So number one, you can work directly with a particular marketplace, the Red Hat marketplace specifically, where you can find all the IBM products, Red Hat products, etc., IBM Cloud Paks, which are AI powered software built to accelerate application modernization, et cetera, et cetera. But you can also find other marketplace products on there. And similarly, you can find IBM and Red Hat solutions on the Azure side, on the AWS marketplaces, and even leverage our Red Hat collaboration with Tackle's cloud marketplace too. So I just want to really pile on to say, explore your world. You can resell via those cloud aggregators also, including Arrow. These are global cloud aggregators. Arrow, who else? Ingram Micro, TD Synnex, etc. Lots of choices out there. So if there's nothing else I leave you with, and I know we're running long on time here. If there's nothing else that I leave you with, it's really take advantage of this panel and find out what your options are. What would make the most sense for your organization? Because there's a lot of different options I can talk about with the Red Hat marketplace. Pay-as-you-go pricing availability that really lowers the barrier for developers to get started. So whether you're a sole proprietor or whether you're a large organization, you can take advantage of virtually any of these marketplaces and leverage them for their individual capabilities and services that they provide. One of the things specific, and then I'll leave it for Red Hat, is that we also really have a concierge style availability. So number one, definitely don't hesitate to get a hold of me after this conference, and I'll be able to walk you through. I can be your sort of face and name at IBM and Red Hat to walk you through step by step to ensure that we do what's most productive for your organization and for your particular strategy. So nothing else. I'm going to say it one more time. You've got to reach out to us. This is a great conference, but it's only as valuable as you make it once the conference is over. We've all been a part of these before, and it feels really great, and then we just don't take advantage of it. So I'll hush up now, but please don't hesitate.
Thank you, Ralph. And I love the ping pong between you and Barry. Love it. Here's something I took away, right? The tech distribution, which was happening in the enterprise, is getting disrupted by marketplace. So keep that trend is going to be only, I would say, accelerating. The way you buy is changing in the enterprise. So having this visibility for all of you will also start to think about putting your marketplace strategy, having a new customer demand in engine, and also having a multi-cloud strategy. So you don't have to get stuck with any one brand. You can be inclusive of all because it gives you opportunity to tap into your existing contract relationship with these hyperscalers. So Gena, I want to start with you. Knowing that, this is happening, can you explain co-selling? Because this is a new term that's getting used right now in the industry, and Microsoft has coined this, and everyone understands what co-selling looks like. So tell us about co-selling with hyperscalers. How does it look like in the real world, and what should we be all looking for?
Yeah, well, I've had to learn the definition of co-sell myself, because when I first joined the Microsoft partner business, it was just introduced, I think, about 5 to 6 years ago. And so co-sell is really defined as a collaborative engagement with Microsoft. It is that broad because ultimately, when you're building on our platforms, we have the opportunity to position our messages together to reach our audiences, our industry audiences, our business decision makers at scale. And so it might sound...
Go ahead, Gena. You're good.
It might sound like a very broad definition, but I think that's an expansive and inclusive definition to help you not get stuck in the multiple programs and incentives that you're going to discover as you embark on your journey, comparing across the cloud providers and the platforms that you might list on. So we'll start there. And then when you think about co-sell, there are several ways to think about it. There is a really lovely diagram that we use at Microsoft that I wish I had, but I'll try and describe it. At the core, you can think of co-selling as those traditional one-on-one engagements where maybe you're in a room with a Microsoft seller, you're pitching together, very deep. The next concentric circle around that could be with other partners, and that's the other power of the Microsoft partner ecosystem, working with the 90,000 cloud solution provider program partners that we have, so that you're also co-selling and selling through and with the ecosystem. And the biggest concentric circle around that, you can think of that as the marketplace, right? And all that we discussed around the marketplace strategy augments the traditional co-selling models. So hopefully that's a good grounding for us to all understand the variations in co-sell that you could get, and then know that when you start looking into the documentation for the Microsoft marketplace, for the others, you're going to see different statuses of programs and incentives that you can then get depending on the revenue contribution of your business, depending on meeting certain competency levels. And then that will hopefully provide some context for how you start to navigate this concept of co-sell and how you might engage in it.
I love it, Gena. I think you explained really well. Lauren, I would like you to go deep dive. Just let's do one click down. Is now that we have these hyperscalers, how does the engagement needs to look like in the real world, or how does it look like for you on the other side when you're helping these SaaS companies build strategic partnership with hyperscalers?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that this is one of the biggest questions we get from our customers, which are primarily ISVs. And I think what it comes down to is when we look at partnering with an ISV a cloud, a CSV, as we look to partner, there's usually around 5 key things that we tell our customers to approach as they're building that new relationship with one of these clouds. Because we work with so many startups, seed to, up to through series, up through enterprise, that it could be really a variety. And just as Gena was saying, it could really depend on what tier you might sit in. And for a lot of you, that you might not be in one of those tiers yet. So I think the first thing is, we've all said it, the old phrases are true. When it comes to marketplace, build it, they won't necessarily come. So there's no doubt that the cloud providers, like Gena was saying, offer tremendous benefits and programs to get those buyers or to get those buyers aware of your products and sellers to build in their marketplaces. But there is work that needs to be done. So first, like I said before, getting that really clear cloud partnership, vision for your cloud partnership in place and getting that executive buy-in internally is really important if you want to start approaching, this strategy internally. Next from there, gaining, really understanding those programs that all of the different clouds provide. So Gena, thank you. There's a bunch that I know Microsoft offers, AWS, IBM, GCP. There's so many that are such a variety. And that's where we tend to kind of help support our ISVs and understanding what are the programs available to you, especially as a startup or a new organization. After that, it really comes down to getting into that investment in co-sell. So some companies, it looks like they might actually invest into larger teams to get to work with those co-selling teams at the cloud providers. Others, what are the different ways that they can automate the different co-sell structures? And really what it comes down to is having the people and the processes in place to leverage all of the tools that the cloud providers have put out there to make it easier to co-sell. So again, having aligned internal strategy, ensuring that everyone from executive all the way down into the field level, so your sellers are bought into marketplace and understand the value of marketplace for your customers. Then taking that and leveraging the tools like ACE and Microsoft Partner Center and the ones that are out there, and really engaging with your cloud partner and understand what each cloud vendor is offering to your customers, and make sure that your value prop is really clear. Your value proposition is super clear on how you help those customers in that cloud, with specifically on what you can do for them, and making that really clear to the field co-sell team in each of those clouds as well.
Perfect. So for interest of time, we only have 5 minutes. So I'm going to do is a quick round robin. So Ralph, I'll start with you. Are there any best practices for entrepreneurs who are listening to build a customer demand by leveraging marketplace strategy? Like do they need to think about building a customer demand?
That's a fantastic question, Chai. And very quickly, I think at the highest level, I love what both Gena and Lauren talked about in terms of the co-sell piece, because guess what? It's all around partnerships. But when you talk about partnerships, you first need to evaluate your own strategy. So if you're a brand new startup, if you've been around for 40 years, whatever the case is, and really regardless of the size of your organization, again, sole proprietors on up in terms of size, what you really need to think about is take a look at your own strategy in terms of, first of all, actually the services you're going to be planning on providing. So you can have that differentiator that sets you apart from the thousands, and just here in the United States, but around the world, why limit it to just the US? The thousands of basically competitors in more cases than not. They can also become your partners to fill those specific capabilities gaps that you may not have immediately. But think about those services that you plan on providing to your customers and clients within the next 18 months or so. From there, you can see how you'll grow your business additionally by building your own technology solutions and embedding those of other organizations. So I'll just talk about IBM and Red Hat, taking some of the AI capabilities that you may not have fully developed within your organization, embed those into your own solution, again, as a differentiator, still branded your own product, don't have to call it IBM anything, by the way, but that again gives you that credential that sets you apart from the others, and it gives you a chance to grow based upon the capabilities. And again, I'm just using an IBM example, but goodness knows you can use Microsoft, et cetera, to build those kinds of your own solutions and enhance the capabilities even further. So services is one, building your own solutions by embedding additional technologies. And those additional technologies can be another business partner too. And we coordinate business partners of ours with each other, and they may not even be working with IBM. And then from there, just close it up with reselling, just like this question has been talking about. And I think Lauren and Gena did a great job on the resell piece.
Awesome. Thanks, Ralph. Barry, how should we think about customer demand generation for the marketplaces?
It's simple. You need to have.
Hold on. Yeah,
You need to
there you
have
go.
your industry outcome and use case defined. And you need to be very clear about what that value is to your customer. And that's how you create demand. You create demand into the marketplaces, not from the marketplaces outward. So that's what I would say.
Perfect. Love. Gena, what about you?
Offer a perspective from inclusion. So again, be really clear how you can differentiate your business based on some of the organizational attributes that you have, your purpose aligned, value alignment with both the cloud platforms that you're on, and to capitalize on any available campaign moments and opportunities in the partnership with Women in Cloud that I spoke for, because co-sell is really one part of your go-to-market strategy. You'll still want to really land your core marketing aspects of that, because your positioning is going to accelerate the touch points in that journey. So let's not forget about that. So again, sharpen your differentiator messaging, align on your values and your purpose, and the fact that many of you are diverse-owned businesses. I think something to really capture supply diversity is a significant opportunity right now to look into and to also tap into through the marketplace. So I'll leave it at that.
Thank you, Gena. Lauren, any best practices you want to share?
Sure. I mean, I think it's been covered very well so far already. From my side, I think although co-sell is just one piece of it, being listed in the marketplace is also it makes you available and more visible to those internal teams at these hyperscalers as well. So I would think that's very important. And then also thinking of your internal sales team, whether it's one or multiple, ensuring that they are really crisp and clear on that message, and that they are bought into the value of marketplace for customers. So it's an automatic when they're going in and having that conversation that, you know what, maybe leading with marketplace is the best way to go for your organization, especially if you're specifically a direct sale. So I think ensuring that any part of your business that is touching that customer at some point really should know that marketplace value proposition as well.
Sure. First is I love this topic so much, so I can spend probably a year really spending time with all of you. Because we only have another 12 seconds, I want to just wrap it up. First is thank you. Absolutely an amazing content, and also perspective on why you should be considering marketplace as one of your, I would say, sales channel. So for all the audience who are listening, any takeaways that you're going to take away today and any action you're going to do, put it in the chat. So let me summarize a couple of things. First, you do need to have a marketplace strategy if you want to build a go-to-market channel through that. You really need one, so you have to put it right. Second, you have to invest in customer demand. That means customers are coming to marketplace rather than the customer is coming to you through marketplace. So you need to really look at your customer demand. Third is look at your customers and find out if they have existing contracts with these hyperscalers, so you can tap into that. And the last one, which is my perspective, is hone on one marketplace, whichever it is, do it right, build $1 million business through that, then expand to other marketplaces, because it gives you the formula to do it. You'll have the team and the resources. So again, I would say is thank you to all of you. If some of the entrepreneurs are here, if you're looking for joining the Women in Cloud co-sell accelerator, the cohort number 7 is going to start in Feb. So please apply now, because we will go through the selection process, and all these people who are here, they're part of our advisor network. They help us really identify the companies we can really develop, so you're truly, truly successful through the marketplace work. So you have a proven methodology. We have the technology that's required to help you get there, the education that is required for you to be successful in enterprise. And the last one is you have the perfect entrepreneurs to help you explore this channel. As an SMB company, you need a marketplace as a core strategy, because you can scale very easily. So with that, thank you, Barry, Gena, Ralph, Lauren, for entertaining a fantastic conversation on a new topic that many people don't know about it or even think about it. So now they can Google and search a lot of the good stuff there. Okay, again, thank you for being here with us.
Thank you.
Thank
Thanks.
you.
Thank you so
everyone.
much, Chai. Oh my gosh, I learned so much in that, and I love that you talked about the program too, but that's coming up and the deadline's coming up February 18th. So if you want to be part of the Cloud Founder program, which we're going to hear more about in a little bit, but this Co-Sell Cloud Accelerator with Hyperscalers is coming up. And what you get to do is participate in an immersive 6-month program that's designed to help and empower women-led tech companies to co-build, co-market, and co-sell with cloud hyperscalers and their distribution channels. So there's a lot of information about this. You're going to hear some more too from Karen Fazio in the panel with the founders coming up. But just know that this is proven methodology. It gives you access to technology that's outrageously great and access to cloud hyperscalers. This is the kind of access they're talking about, and mentors and advisors. So you're not alone, and it's an exclusive access that you can't get anywhere else. And the support of the WIC community, which is incredible. So apply today. And thanks again for putting up that slide, Raisa.